What's up guys, Saf here on SuperSaf TV, and this is my 2-month later review of what I believe is going to be the best-selling iPhone of the coming year, and potentially even the best-selling phone full stop of the coming year. It is of course the iPhone 11. Now I did say the same for the iPhone XR last year, and I was correct. I do think this is going to be the best-selling iPhone this year. So why do I think this? What do I like about the iPhone 11? What don't I like about the iPhone 11? How does it compare to the iPhone 11 Pro and Pro Max? And should you buy this or should you save a bit of money and get last year's iPhone XR? I'm going to be trying to answer all of this in this video, so it might be a long one. I will try to leave some timestamps, however, in the pinned comment below. Right, now initially let's look at the overall design and build, and straight away it's obvious that this is an incremental update, especially from the front. If we compare it to the iPhone XR, it'll be pretty difficult to tell them apart, and that's because, as far as I'm aware, they have pretty much the same displays, 6.1 inches, still LCD, and still with the same resolution. Now, Android fans want to complain about the resolution and how this isn't even 1080p in 2019. Get that all out the way, get those frustrations out the way in the comments right now so we can get past that. And yes, I would have liked to have seen 1080p. And if we do compare this display to the iPhone 11 Pro or the iPhone 11 Pro Max, then the difference is quite significant. Not only do we have a superior OLED technology on the iPhone 11 Pros, we also have a high resolution, so things are sharper, colors are more vibrant, and the displays are also a lot brighter. Now, just to put it into perspective, if we look at contrast ratio, the iPhone 11 has a contrast ratio of 1400 to 1. The iPhone 11 Pro and the iPhone 11 Pro Max have a contrast ratio of 2 million to 1. So that just goes to show that the difference is definitely there. But having said all of that, the display on the iPhone 11 is not bad by any means. It's actually a very good display. It's bright enough. It's actually brighter than some of the devices that I've tested, such as the Google Pixel 4. And Apple have calibrated the screen very well, so colors are very accurate and viewing angles also pretty decent. So yes, I would have liked to have seen some more improvements on the display side of things here, but nevertheless, I think it's going to be fine for most people, especially if you're somebody that's coming from an iPhone 6s, maybe an iPhone 7, or even an iPhone 8. Right, now that we've got the whole display debate out of the way, let's look at the rest of the design. So we do have an aluminium frame with glass panels on the back, like we had last year. So you can see that things look very similar. We've got a glossy glass here, whereas we've got more of a matte finish on the iPhone 11 Pros. The biggest difference you'll notice is within this camera module area, which we'll be talking about a little bit later. One thing to highlight, however, is that the frame is made out of recycled aluminum, so that's definitely a nice thing. We've got IP68 Water Dust Resistance, so that's slightly better than what we had last year. You're going to be able to submerge these into water around 2 meters instead of 1 meter, I believe. I'm not going to go around testing this. This should be absolutely fine if you're going to be using it out in the rain or anything like that. And we've got a little bit of a different color lineup this year. There are 6 colors to choose from, so it's nice to have that variety. There is the yellow, the purple, and this green that we have here. I'd say these are a bit more of those funky, vibrant colors if you want something that's going to stand out a little bit more. And then we have the black, the white, as well as this product red. These are more of the elegant, sleek colors, shall we say. So if you want something that's not so flashy and maybe a bit subtle, then you do have these options. What is nice is that you have plenty of those options, so you can definitely find something that you like. We unfortunately no longer have the blue. Now, I'm not sure why this is. Maybe they didn't sell as many blues. I actually quite liked the blue last year, but unfortunately, there isn't no blue this year. And in terms of the size as well, exactly the same as what we had last year. So slightly bigger than the iPhone 11 Pro, but smaller compared to the iPhone 11 Pro Max. Now, if you are coming from maybe an iPhone 7, an iPhone 8, then you might find this a little bit large. It is a bit on the larger side, so I definitely recommend trying it out, seeing what you think before you go ahead and buy this, because there is a little bit of a size jump, not as much as you get on the 11 Pro Max, but there is a little bit of a size jump. If you are coming from something like an iPhone 7 Plus or an 8 Plus, then this size should be absolutely fine for you. Right, now let's talk about these cameras. So we have this square camera module this year, and we have 2 cameras instead of the 1 which we had last year. So Apple have gone with a primary camera as well as an ultra wide. Now this is a great setup. It's a setup that I generally prefer. And the front facing camera has also been improved for selfies. You've got a wider angle of view, a higher resolution. You'll be able to get more people into your shots. And what's really interesting is that these cameras are exactly the same as what we've got on the iPhone 11 Pros. The only thing that you're missing is the 2x optical zoom telephoto camera. So what does that mean? Let's break it all down. It means that we've got some of the best cameras in the market here, especially when it comes to video. You've got up to 4K 60 frames a second across all of the cameras. And if you are somebody who likes to shoot a lot of video, I don't think you're going to be disappointed with the iPhone 11s. I've said this before, but in my opinion, the iPhone 11s have the best video shooting on any smartphone right now. And for images across the board, you're getting great dynamic range, lots of detail, nice colors, as well as great low light images. We do now have a dedicated night mode on the iPhones, which is going to allow you to get much better shots in low light environments. However, the night mode is only available from the primary camera. It's not available from the ultra-wide or the front-facing camera. So if you do take shots with those cameras in low light situations, they're not going to come out that great. This is something that I would like to see improved, hopefully via software or in the next version. Now, what does not having that telephoto camera mean for the iPhone 11? Well, firstly, zoom is not going to be as good. I believe that's not as important to a lot of people. However, the area where I tend to use the telephoto camera most is for portraits. Now, on the iPhone 11 Pro and iPhone 11 Pro Max, you can get portraits from both the telephoto camera as well as the primary camera. So you do have the option of switching between the two. So these are the blurry background, nice looking shots. You can still get these on the iPhone 11, but only from the primary camera. Now, as somebody who used to do a lot of photography before, and if you speak to lots of photographers, they'll tell you that portraits generally look best at around 50mm or above. And the telephoto camera on the iPhone 11 Pros is roughly the equivalent of 50mm on a professional camera. And in my opinion, that gives you better, more flattering portraits. And that's something that I do enjoy using on the iPhone 11 Pro Max. It's something that I do miss when I'm using the iPhone 11. However, I know this is something that comes down to personal preference. You may actually prefer the portraits that come from the wider angle of view. You're going to be able to get more of your shot in there. It's just nice to have those two options on the iPhone 11 Pros. But overall, I have to say that the iPhone 11s have some of the best cameras out there. They're very, very good, and I don't think you're going to be disappointed. I've actually compared the iPhone 11 to the OnePlus 7T, and although that has a much, much better display, when it came to images and video, hands down, in my opinion, the iPhone 11 was just miles better. Now let's move on to the internals. What's powering these? Well, you'll be pleased to know that we have pretty much the same internals on the iPhone 11s as we do on the Pro models. So we do have the A13 Bionic chip, which is very, very fast. It's one of the fastest chipsets out there, and I don't think you can have any issues in terms of speed and performance. It's very, very good. And for software as well, you've got iOS 13. Things are pretty much identical. You're not really missing out on any features in particular by going for an iPhone 11 compared to an 11 Pro. So we've got the dark mode. We do have the ability to change resolution and frame rates within the video app itself, which is something that we don't have on other older iPhones. And generally speaking, things will be very, very familiar on the iPhone 11 if you're somebody that has been using iOS 13. The one thing that I did mention in my iPhone 11 Pro Max review around software, which a lot of people criticized me for, was around one-handed usage. So I did say that I think that iOS can still be improved for better one-handed usage, and everybody was saying that you can simply use reachability. Now, I'm fully aware of reachability. If you're not, it's simply a way to bring everything down, which is quite nice. It's actually quite nice to have that. You can just swipe down here in the middle and it's going to bring everything down. But my point was really that I would like a little bit more flexibility in terms of arranging the icons, so I wouldn't have to keep doing that every time I wanted to reach to the corners. I could just place my icons a little bit lower on the screen, so then that way they would be much more reachable instead of them always snapping to this fixed grid, which, stacks everything at the top. If I'm on a page that doesn't have as many icons, so they're all towards the top, I have to keep using reachability to get to those. If I could just put those towards the bottom, stack them towards the bottom instead of the top, then that would just make my life so much easier. So that's kind of what my point was in that review. And that same point remains on the iPhone 11. It's a decent sized phone, especially if you're coming from a smaller phone. And I would like to see an improvement in iOS for better overall one-handed usage and not just relying on reachability for every little thing. Now let's talk about some more of the features. So we do have Face ID and it works really, really well. It's actually been improved compared to last year and it works with more angles. It's a little bit faster. I really do like it. And we also do have stereo speakers. So one is in the earpiece and one is bottom firing. And they sound absolutely fine to me as well. There might be other devices which sound a little bit better, but generally speaking, I don't think you're gonna have a problem in terms of the audio on the iPhone 11. Now let's talk about the battery. So you may remember that the iPhone XR had the best battery life on any iPhone at that time. This is no longer the case. The iPhone 11 Pro Max now has the best overall battery, and that has great battery life. The iPhone 11 is supposed to be slightly improved compared to the iPhone XR. In my usage, it's been roughly about the same, maybe slightly better. However, it's been absolutely fine. It's been very good and lasts me through the day. And I think it's gonna last most people through the day as well. And we do have wireless charging. I absolutely love wireless charging. You can just drop this on a wireless charger and it's gonna charge overnight, which is generally my sort of usage. I'll use it through the day. This lasts me through the day. I can put it on my wireless charger. I can wake up to a full charge. And the iPhone 11 also supports fast charging. However, unfortunately, the fast charger is not included out of the box. This is something that I've been ranting about for many, many years. In my opinion, the iPhones should come with a fast charger out of the box. It's 2019. There's lots of devices that are much, much cheaper than this and do come with a fast charger out of the box. The iPhone 11 Pros do come with a fast charger in the box. The iPhone 11 does not. Now this might not be a big deal for a lot of people because as mentioned, the iPhone 11 does have great battery life and it should last you through the day. But just for those occasional emergency situations, it would have been nice if they included a fast charger out of the box. Now let's talk about pricing. This is actually coming in cheaper compared to the iPhone XR last year. So it's starting at $700 or around £730 for the 64GB option. Why is it more expensive in the UK? I don't know, you're gonna have to ask Apple that. If you ask me, I assume it's because of the whole Brexit situation. The pound is currently unstable here in the UK, so it might fluctuate and Apple does not change the prices of their devices. They set them at the start of the year and they remain the same throughout the year. And this may be the reason why they've gone for something slightly higher. I don't know. But nevertheless, this is the reason why I think the iPhone 11 is going to be the best-selling iPhone of the coming year. And that's because it's a lot more accessible to a lot of people. You are not going to have to put out £1,000 like you're going to have to do on the iPhone 11 Pros. But you're still getting a lot of the features that you get on the Pro models here on the iPhone 11s. Now, my advice would be, is if you're thinking of going for this, then go for the 128GB option unless you have a good cloud storage option available. And that's because the storage that you get, you're gonna have to stick with. And it's around £50 or $50 more to go for the 128GB option. And long term, I think it's just gonna be better and a little bit more safe to go for that larger option, especially if you're gonna be shooting lots of video on here. 4K 60 frames a second is gonna eat through storage very, very quickly. So who is the iPhone for? Let's answer some of those questions. Well, in my opinion, if you're somebody that's maybe on an iPhone 6S, maybe an iPhone 7, iPhone 8, I think this is going to be a great upgrade for you. I think you're going to really appreciate the improvements in terms of speed and performance, the cameras, as well as the display, which now has a much better screen to body ratio. Or maybe you're somebody who's wanted to get a brand new iPhone, but traditionally they've been out of reach because of the price point. Then this may be a good option for you considering the lower price point that it's starting at. And to answer the question whether you should buy this or the iPhone XR, because the XR is still on sale on the Apple website, it's coming in around £100 or $100 cheaper compared to the iPhone 11. Take my advice, spend that extra £100 and buy the iPhone 11. Think about it this way, the iPhone 11 should last you a year longer compared to the iPhone XR, which is last year's model. And the improvements on the camera side of things and speed and performance are definitely worth it in my opinion. If you can pick up the iPhone XR, maybe second hand and get it quite cheap, then by all means you can check that out. But if you are going to be buying it brand new, I definitely recommend getting the iPhone 11 over the iPhone XR. And finally, to answer the question, should you go for the iPhone 11 or should you go for the iPhone 11 Pro or 11 Pro Max? Now, the biggest difference is, of course, the price. What are you getting for that price? Let me summarize it for you. You're getting, I'd say, pretty much 4 things. Firstly, you're getting much better displays. You're getting far superior displays, brighter, sharper, better colors. You're then also getting a telephoto camera, which is going to give you better zoom, and it's also going to give you the option of telephoto portraits. You're generally getting a better build with stainless steel instead of aluminium, as well as a higher IP rating and a matte finish back. And finally, you are getting the fast chargers out of the box on the iPhone 11 Pros, whereas you are not going to be getting these on the iPhone 11s. And generally speaking, I'd say those are the 4 main things. How important are those 4 things to you? And are they worth that extra price point? I think it's around $300 or around £320 more here in the UK. If they are important to you, then of course the iPhone 11 Pros are better devices and I'd recommend maybe going for those. But if they aren't, then you are getting a pretty good deal here, in my opinion, with the iPhone 11s. And I think a lot of people are gonna opt for these. That's what I think anyway. What do you guys think? Definitely drop me a comment below and let me know your thoughts. I hope you enjoyed this pretty long video. I try to cover as much detail as possible. If you did, then a thumbs up would be appreciated. And if you want to see more content and coverage like this, then be sure to subscribe and hit that bell icon so you don't miss any of that. Thanks for watching. This is Saf on SuperSaf TV, and I'll see you next time.